day. Welcome to another episode of Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. So, the draft is here. The draft is here, or at least it will be here in 24 hours. And the wait is almost over. I, of course, won't be watching the draft. Why? Because I'll be at work. Okay? So I won't be able to see who we draft until I get off work. Right? Okay? So, a couple of things today. Jimmy Johnson talked about the biggest regret he had in his coaching career. And ironically, he said one of the biggest regrets he had during his coaching career was this right here. Here we go. Okay.
The biggest regret I have in my entire career involved you. You know, here we're getting ready for the draft. I flew Michael up to Dallas. Yep. I sat down with him. I told him I was going to draft him. You know, and, you know, because, you know, he came from a little school, you know, I was always
Texas
looking
Southern.
for a bargain, you know, Texas Southern. And so I was thinking I can get him, you know, late in the second round. I sent a scout and was sitting in your home.
Yes, during the draft.
Sitting in your home because I'm going to call you and say, Michael, you're a Dallas Cowboy. You know, well, New York jumped in front of me, so I wasn't able to draft you. But it turned out pretty good for you. You won a Super Bowl with the Giants, and I did okay myself.
Yeah. So think about how different Cowboys history could have been if the Giants did not jump in front of us on draft day 1993, which is the year Michael Strahan was drafted. Think about how much history would be different for the Giants and the Cowboys. Of course, the Giants drafted Michael in 1993, and we beat them 31-9 that year in Texas Stadium. Okay, and then of course the Emmitt Smith shoulder game, where he separated his shoulder, and as Jimmy Johnson said, things didn't turn out bad for him, but things also didn't turn out too bad for Jimmy Johnson, right? Because who did we beat along the way? The New York Giants, okay? So, speaking of Emmitt Smith, Lord have mercy. So Emmitt Smith went 17th. So Emmitt Smith went 17th to the Cowboys in 1990, okay? And this is what Emmitt Smith wore when he was introduced to the media for the first time as a Dallas Cowboy, okay? Excuse me. This is how Emmitt Smith dressed when he was introduced to the media. And look at what he got. Look at what he has on. That's probably the worst draft outfit in the history of NFL drafts, okay? And Michael Irvin talked about that. Michael Irvin said, and I remember him walking in with the MC Hammer type of clothes, and I remember thinking, where do we get this guy from? Right? Okay? So, Emmitt no, not Emmitt Smith. It was Tommy Agee at that time. Tommy Agee, who had just been recently signed by the Cowboys. Tommy Agee was like, you don't walk into no professional sports organization with that on. And Tommy Agee was like, everybody gave him grief. Everybody gave him grief for that. Okay? That polka dot MC Hammer. In the words of Michael Irvin, the MC Hammer type pants, the MC Hammer type clothes that that Emmitt Smith had on. Right? Right? Okay. And so Ken Norton, who came to the Cowboys in 1988, along with Michael Irvin. Okay. He recalls when Michael Irvin got drafted, he said one of the things about Michael that really stood out to Ken Norton about Michael was this guy was so confident. He said he hadn't caught any balls in the NFL. We were coming to a veteran team, Randy and Danny White, Eugene Lockhart, and Ken Norton was like, it didn't matter. Michael Irvin came on the field and said, once Michael Irvin stepped on the field, he said, this is my team, okay? That's how confident Michael Irvin was, right? Okay? And speaking of Michael Irvin, Jerry Jones recalls the story. Jerry Jones says, we all know Michael Irvin didn't like to sleep, right? So, I lost my train of thought for a second. So, Michael Irvin didn't like to sleep, right? And Jerry Jones told the story. He said the Cowboys would be out there here or stretching, and Michael will walk out to the practice field, and Jerry Jones would be like, Michael would walk out to the practice field, point that finger all around the room, and go, oh, like, all right, y'all, raise your hand. I want to see who is it on this field who's going to outwork me today. Raise your hand. I want to see who on this field is going to outwork me today. And then Jerry Jones would like, everybody knows right there that Michael Irvin hadn't been in the bed. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, that's how confident Michael Irvin was in his ability as a NFL player. And it pretty much showed because now he's in the Hall of Fame, right? Okay. And when the Cowboys drafted Alvin Harper in 1991, there were people who said it was a shame that Alvin Harper never really got to where he potentially could be because there were some former Cowboy players who said it's a shame because Harper was more talented than Michael Irvin, but they said the difference was Michael Irvin went about his business a lot more different than Alvin Harper went about his business, okay? And they said Alvin Harper had a mediocre work ethic, average speed, yada yada yada, whatnot. And so again, Alvin Harper just went about his business a different way than Michael Irvin did, and that's why they say Michael Irvin's in the Hall of Fame and Alvin Harper's just quote other guy who played for the Dallas Cowboys, right? So, all right, that's it. That's all for Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk. I am Sean Farrell. Enjoy the draft. I will. Peace out. God bless.